Know which one to pick. Throw on with a pair of jeans. Significant progress on this project. Hello and welcome to a special episode of What Hannah Knits. On this channel, I love to chat to you about everything knitting related. And today I am in beautiful Cornwall. Some of you may have watched my previous episode where we were in Cornwall over the summer, and I put out a video which was a mix between a vlog and some sit down chatty knitty content. So I really enjoyed making that video, so I'm hoping to make something similar this time. We're just here for a week this time around. I'm here again with my partner and our little dog Bertie. And this week we are joined as well by his parents and their dog. They also have a Cocker Spaniel. His name is Milo. And I'm sure you will see some footage of Bertie and Milo living their best life on their holidays. So whilst we're here, we're going to be doing lots of lovely walks. I am that person that takes my knitting everywhere with me. So I'm hoping to get in some progress on my projects. I'll also try and put some time aside to do a sit down and we can talk through all of the knitting that I have brought along with me. And also really exciting for us, we have booked our wedding for a venue here in Cornwall. So whilst we're here, we're going to be viewing our venue again and doing some wedding planning. So a very exciting trip. Hopefully I'm going to get lots of knitty related content for you, and I'll be taking you along on our little week in Cornwall. Having a really great week so far. Hopefully you will have seen some footage of the lovely walks that we've been enjoying. The weather has been typically British. It is glorious sunshine 1 minute and pouring with rain the next. So we've definitely needed waterproofs and layers this week. And I have been getting in a few rows on some of my projects whilst I can. I haven't had loads of time for knitting. We've been quite busy. This morning we are just waiting for the rain to pass, so I'm just enjoying a coffee and a few rows of knitting. So I thought this would be a really good time just to quickly chat through the projects that I have been working on. So I'll start with the project I am currently knitting on. So this is the Cecil sweater by Moreka Knit. This is a oversized dropped shoulder sweater. It has a nice funnel neck and some nice wide sleeves, and all of the finishings are in 2x2 rib. I spoke about this in my previous episode, so I won't go into lots of detail, but in a nutshell, it has a construction, which is new to me in terms of dropped shoulder. So you provisionally cast on for what will be sort of this point of the body, midway through the body. Well, it's sort of be upper chest on the body, I suppose. And you then work up from there, work over the shoulders, and then work the back panel. So I go into a lot more detail about how this is constructed in my previous podcast episode. But when we arrived, I was just about to start the short rows for the back of the shoulders. I've finished that portion, finished the back panel, and yesterday I joined in the round. So I've got some lovely plain stockinette knitting on this project now. So I'll probably take this out with me today because it's nice and easy just to pick up and go. This is the yarn that I'm using. This skein is looking a little bit beaten up and worse for wear, but this is the Paint Box Yarns 100% wool worsted superwash, and it is 100% wool, and the shade name is Misty Grey. So I don't have huge amounts of knitting here with me. I've only brought along a few projects just because we're only here for a week and I wasn't anticipating having lots and lots of time to knit. So I have 2 other things that I have been working on. So I've made significant progress on this project as well. This is the Hannah Slipover. It is a pattern by the Knit Pearl Girl. I made one of these last summer in stripes and I brought that along with me to Cornwall in the summer and really enjoyed wearing it. So I have decided to make another one. This will have the button band modification, so it's going to be a little button-up slipover. So this is a contiguous shoulder construction. It's a really fun construction to work. I have worked the 2 front panels, so you can see them here. They should be on hold on some scrap yarn or a stitch holder, but because we're traveling and I'm in a pinch, I didn't have anything with me. It is just being held on the same needle that I'm currently working the back panel on. So this looks a little strange, but I am just working some plain stockinette for the back panel. There will be some increases for the armholes, and then I'll be joining the fronts and the backs. And rather than working in the round, I will be working this flat because it is going to be a button up. And this is the yarn that I am using. I actually purchased this when we were here in the summer from the Stitches and Cream yarn shop in Falmouth. This is the Fibre Company Law, and it is a lamb's wool, if I'm correct. I don't have the ball band with me, but it's really beautiful and soft, and this is in the shade Pensive. So it's a really beautiful grey colour. I'm really enjoying how this is working up. And the final project that I have been working on whilst we're here is a sock project. This is going to be a pair of socks for my partner, George. So as you can see, I am just about to start working the decreases for the gusset. I've worked the heel flap here. I'm not using a pattern for these. I am just freehanding socks. We figured out a formula that works for him. 70 stitches in circumference on a 2.5mm needle seems to be the best fit, with a slipped stitch heel flap and gusset, and he likes a rib for better fit. So I am doing a, sorry, words are escaping me this morning, but I am doing a broken rib just because it's a little bit easier because you're working stockinette every other row rather than rib every single row. So he had requested some socks with some sporty stripes on the top here, so I've added those in. and the yarn I'm using is the Lang Yarns Jowl. It is a standard sock yarn. It is probably my favourite sock yarn to work with. I'll pop up the shade names on the screen because I don't have any of the ball bands here. But this is the main colour, and then we picked out a navy blue and a bit of a lighter blue to work those stripes on the leg. Whilst I have a little bit of time this morning, I also wanted to really quickly show the few pieces of knitwear that I have been wearing whilst we are here. I haven't packed loads just because I've been mostly wearing walking clothes, but in the evenings when we nip out for pub food or just to have a little walk around the local town, I have a few bits of knitwear that I have been wearing. So this has definitely been the most worn so far this week. This is my Siri cardigan. It is a pattern by Les Knit. So it is an all over cabled and moss stitch cardigan, and I knit mine in some thrifted yarn. It is this really rustic Aran weight yarn. This is extremely warm. We were in the pub the other night and they had a open fire. It was so hot in there and I was absolutely sweltering in this. Also, when we are walking from here to the pub, I often find that I get a little bit too hot. So this is definitely one for very, very cold days, but I've really been enjoying wearing this whilst we've been here. Next, I have my Amy sweater. This is a pattern by Petite Knit. It's a really simple top-down raglan with a roll neck and 2x2 finishings, 2x2 ribbed finishings, I should say. And I knit mine in Pear Gint in one of the tweed colourways, and that is the recommended yarn for this pattern. I've only reached for this twice since we've been here. It is just a really nice throw on with a pair of jeans. It pretty much goes with anything. So really handy to have, especially now the weather is getting a bit colder. And the final cardigan that I have is this. This is a self-drafted cardigan that I finished just before we came away. So I really wanted to bring this along in the hope that I would wear it, but I haven't. It just doesn't really match the vibe of what we've been doing whilst we're here, which is a lot more just casual, throw on a big oversized jumper with a pair of jeans. So I may try to wear this tonight if we go out, but I may not. Either way, I'm happy that I had this with me because I managed to get some finished object photos with this yesterday before we went out on our walk. But in summary, this is a contiguous shoulder construction cardigan, and I finished it with I-cord details, so you can see it ties up with a little bow at the front. And I speak about this a lot more in my previous podcast episodes. If you are interested in any more details about this one, it is all spoken about in that video. are back home now after a really lovely week, and I very quickly want to share a yarn purchase with you. You may have seen that we visited the Stitches and Cream shop in Falmouth. If you ever do find yourself in that part of the world, I highly recommend a visit. You may also be familiar with the Stitches and Cream shop through the Cornish Knitter. She is here on YouTube. She has a channel where she talks all about her knitting and also about the Stitches and Cream shop, because it is her yarn shop and it is very, very lovely. There was a lovely lady working there on the day who was really helpful in helping me decide on which yarn to buy and making sure that I had got all of my skeins from the same dye lot. There was also a few other ladies in there trying to decide which yarn and which colour to buy for their projects, and we were all chatting, so it was a really lovely experience. So this is my yarn purchase. I went for the Fibre Co Cumbria. This is a worsted weight yarn and I went for the shade Scarfell Pike. This is what it looks like. So I have 5 skeins of this in total. They are each 100 grams and each skein has 216 meters. When I purchased this, my plan was for the Ever cardigan by Petite Knit, but since then, the Knit Pearl Girl has released a new pattern called the Lucy cardigan, which has a really lovely texture all over it, and it is a crew neck cardigan. And I'm now undecided as to whether I want to knit the Ever cardigan by Petite Knit or the Lucy cardigan by the Knit Pearl Girl. Either way, this project will not be very high priority on my knitting queue. I have quite a big stash at the moment and a few projects that I would like to get around to before Christmas, so I probably won't get around to knitting this up until the new year. So I've got a little bit of time to decide what I would like to knit with this. So I think this video will be a little bit shorter compared to some of my other videos, but I think sometimes that's nice. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to digest some shorter format content. But if you have made it through to this point in the video, thank you as always so much for watching and listening to me chat about my knitting. If you've been working on any of your projects while you've been watching, do let me know in the comments, because I always love to hear what you are working on. And I hope that I will see you again very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.